I know.
Jeannie the right
it's
to meet
very
her.
stressful when you're on Facebook Live with Grant Langston.
Yeah, it's running. Go
Can
ahead.
you introduce yourselves?
Yes. Well, me, you know me. How about Jeannie? Let's introduce Jeannie. So you are, how many years at eHarmony?
9.5 years at eHarmony.
Okay.
Yes.
So you go back to, there was basically Warren, business guys, Warren Grant, kind of the era, or was it kind of the
A
original?
few in between there, but we won't mention them. So yes,
Okay.
that's what matters. So yes,
Right.
Warren, business guys, Warren, Grant Langston.
Just to completely oversimplify, it was like founding stage, what was that, 2000? It was you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then the funding came, $110 million funding in 2004, and then, and I can actually mention the number for the exit, kind of the buyback essentially. It was $153.5 million in, well, I don't know the year actually, I can't remember the year, but essentially Warren came back, which I thought was absolutely awesome.
It was awesome because I got the chance to work with him. I hadn't the first round, I wasn't there, so I worked with him, I reported directly to him for like the 3 years he was there the second time. So it was awesome to work with him and work for him, yeah.
One thing I think we both, you've had some more experience of course, I've had a little bit of experience and occurrences. One thing just, well, let's get off on a couple of tangents here. Warren has an amazing deep sharing way of getting to know people. He'll share a lot. And then he'll just really get into people by sharing a lot, and then you kind of feel compelled to really share a lot in reciprocation. It's quite a. I mean, this is what you'd expect from a clinical practitioner, really, which is his background, of course. Look back on a few years ago. There was no Clark Warren with eHarmony, clinical psychologist. Helen Fisher, anthropologist, was chemistry, and Perfect Match was a sociologist. And kind of thinking, wouldn't it be great if they all teamed up? Actually all talk to each other. What do you think?
I agree. I don't disagree with that. I think that what we do is very impactful in people's lives, so why not get together and, take what we all learn and really help people find a great relationship partner, not just, the guy down the street, but someone who's really good for you. Because one thing he did say to me, Dr. Warren, he said many things to me, but one thing was, the person you choose as a partner in life is really like the most important decision you're ever going to make, or one of the most important decisions you're ever going to make. We had many, many talks. We're supposed to be having meetings about commercials or marketing, and he would, Jeannie, let's talk about you. let's talk about your relationship. I was like, oh, here we go. So it was great, though. I learned so much from him, and it's very true that this is a huge decision to make in your life if you're looking for something substantial. So the more we can learn from each other and work together, the better.
That's what I think about the evolution of the industry. eHarmony has been very, very consistent with that scientific approach. True came in with that years ago. They alluded to having a scientific approach at the beginning, and then they kind of lost their way, unfortunately. We know how that ended up. Perfect Match came and went. They had, Dr. Pepper Schwartz, which was... They again did hang their hat on science, and chemistry seems to have been really. Do you see much of chemistry these days?
No, I don't. I don't actually.
It's not really. I guess that's match affinity. Maybe they're putting it in the niche communities. I was thinking with this kind of with a serious matchmaking site. It's horrible to call it a niche. God help us when it's a niche. But so Grant's new. Well, 1 year in. How have things changed? How has the vision evolved in the last year?
Grant is very collaborative. So you really feel like you're not working for him, you're working with him. And you're all just, he's, like I said earlier, he's very willing to try new things. And, I think for a long time it was, the compatibility is sort of behind the, smoke screener. It's behind the fold, and now that's all exposed on people's profiles, so you can see the dimensions and how compatible you are with your matches. So it kind of started with that, like I'm going to open that up, and I think that's sort of his attitude across the board, is let's just be open, and whoever has the best idea, I don't care what department you work in, get in my office, my door's always open. So that's, I think one of the big differences is we're all a team working for, the same reason and the same purpose and the same vision, which is to help people find a meaningful partner.
And mobile. I mean, I always thought with mobile, you've gone from, there was a point at which you went from 236 questions.
Yeah.
I remember Arvind Mishra, you remember Arvind? Arvind Mishra, VP Product.
Yeah.
He essentially, with his team, squeezed that down to 100 questions with Steve Carter as well.
Yes.
So, how did that go? How was that well received?
Well, we did some tests, like we do lots of testing. Everything is tested. And I think at one point we had, I could be wrong, the RQ down to around 40 or 50 questions. And the conversion dropped. So it was really interesting. We thought this is going to be a home run, and no. People, I think, come to eHarmony with the expectation that we're going to really get to know who you are on a deep level and then match you based on that. And I think they want that. So that was a big learning for us. So we've gone, I think we have 130 questions at this point, but we also have, we didn't want, somebody doesn't want, most people are coming in on their phones, we all know that. And that is difficult, you mentioned that earlier, for us, because we have such a lengthy questionnaire. But, we do have the option now that you can fill out a partial questionnaire, just your self-selects, drinking, smoking, distance, and we will start delivering matches to you, but we make it very clear that these aren't compatible matches, these are just matches. We don't want people to not use the service because they don't want to go through and answer all the questions, so we do have that as an option, but we really push people to finish so they'll get better matches. So that is a big change he made. I don't think we ever would have considered that before, and I'm glad he did that to get some more people in the door. And then there's more matches in the pool and better for everybody.
Right, so staging the questionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you describe, I remember there's kind of very two matching ethos, that you can match people based on similarity, and you can even try and match people based on complementary traits, so like the opposites attract. I always think of eHarmony as being similar. Is that true? Or has that changed? Have you tried to actually go down the complementary traits path as well?
No, I think, what we found, what one of our research scientists loved to say, John Gonzaga, do you remember him?
Yeah.
He would say opposites attract and then attack. So I always loved that. I started working at eHarmony and he was giving a talk, and when I heard that I was like, oh my goodness, I need to be afraid. But anyways, so really all the study that we did and the research we did on married couples right when eHarmony started was about, the overall high level finding was that it's about similarities in the fundamental important ways. So I think we haven't really veered from that, and that's really the cornerstone of what we do, is matching people based on similarities in really important areas.
So there must be different aspects of the questionnaire that you get higher levels of confidence on for matching. Is there a particular aspect is there a particular dimension that you would say is the most important when it comes to predicting? What's the consensus for that within the company?
What's the most important dimension?
Yeah.
Gosh, that's really hard. There's 29,
Oh, it's 29.
Yes. I think things like being extroverted, and if you're both extroverted versus introverted, it's just easier. I think agreeableness is very important. I think one of the ones that Dr. Warren had always talked about is adaptability. How adaptable are you? And if you're not, it's tough. And I think if you're both not, maybe it's easier because you're going to understand each other better. But adaptability is huge. And just being able to kind of go with the flow in life with your partner. He always talked about that as being huge.
Yeah. So you're very adaptable because I'm completely gone off script.
That's okay. I'm used to this.
So, you're VP Content. Your role now is VP Content. So let me ask you, what is the content strategy for eHarmony? What's your big push when it comes to content right now?
There's like different, on the high level, it's about differentiation. So, explaining to the marketplace how we're different. Because a lot of people don't really know. They think it's like smoke and mirrors or marketing, but no, we really have research scientists. We really have an eHarmony love lab. We do. I've seen the couples in there being analyzed. It's super fascinating. So it's the differentiation. Like, we are based on 17 plus years of research, and which goes on every day, and our algorithms reflect that, and every night we have machine learning, and it's It's being reconfigured based on who you're interested in. So that's how we're different. We're based on research and science. And so that is important too, and compatibility. And that's how, well, that's high-level content, but it's really hard to talk about compatibility in a simplified way that people's eyes are going to just glaze over. So we're always trying to figure out how to, show everybody that we're different in a way that's easily digestible. So I would say that's always on the table. How, and how can you talk about science in a sexy way? Not so easy. So that, as well, is always, something that we're always mindful of when we're doing any kind of marketing or creative. Different aspects of the content. We've had, TV commercials, and we have social media, and we have the advice site, and we have online digital advertising, and sometimes we've kind of been, like a lot of companies, working in our own area. Like I'm working on the TV commercial, and I'm working on publishing articles, and I've got the digital acquisition team over here, and they're doing their thing. We're really working on being more cohesive across the board in our look, in the look and feel. We hadn't really done that before. So we had a social media brand team that was kind of doing their thing, and I was like having different bloggers write articles. So we are now meeting all the time, and we hired a new creative agency to sort of bring it all together and evolve eHarmony to the next level content-wise and just brand-wise, which is really identifying who we are, showing how we're different, and also having, it's really important with the media these days to have an instant identifier. Like, because, there's so much stuff going on, and people don't watch commercials, and you need to get their attention like that. So how can someone know it's eHarmony? We used to have Dr. Warren in our commercials. We don't have him anymore. So now, it's like, how do people know who we are? The success couples, they're an identifier for us. We've used them really successfully in a lot of commercials and other formats across the media. So it's really something that's constantly evolving, and we're working on it. Does that answer your question?
I was so impressed with your success couples, actually,
Ah!
and your response, but the success couples, I actually encountered them on the Mike and Juliet show, I think it was. And we had to pull a lot. I was actually at POF several years back, and we had to get a success couple. I ended up getting actual friends of ours that we referred on to POF and had gotten married.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, eHarmony had this beautiful couple show up. It was just really fluid at on the Mike and Juliet shows, and it was wonderful to. I don't think we do a very good job of pulling in our success couples, but it's important when you've got a TV. It's a live TV, so.
There's nothing, I think, more effective than the authenticity of our couples.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to find couples that want to go on TV and want to talk and are media friendly, and I've been on many commercial shoots where we get them in front of that white cyc and the lights, and they just sit there and freeze. And so we're trying to okay, let's go to lunch, have a margarita. How can we, other kids, yeah.
That's like the best one.
Yeah, they are. It just,
Film with the kid, I'm like, that would, if I was a single mom, I would totally join eHarmony.
Yeah, that's been one of our most successful spots, just from a, marketing perspective. But yeah, that is a great identifier. I'm pretty sure we'll continue to work with them and use them in our media across the board. But we do have a new creative agency, so it's going to be interesting to see what they bring to the table. And we also introduced humor a few years ago. We were also we always looked at as so serious, and Dr. Warren, Mr. Science, even though he's not serious at all, as you know. I mean, he's a really funny guy, but we started putting him in these situations where he was counseling. I don't know if anyone saw the spot, a woman, or a witch and the boyfriend, or the ogre and the woman who met at a bar or whatever. It's like, why don't you try eHarmony? But it was fun to put him in this situation to just give eHarmony a sense of humor. So we kind of found that putting that out in the marketplace and then putting a success couple spot out in the marketplace at the same time, having sort of both messaging was working really well. It was a nice mix for us. That was very successful.
eHarmony is so unique in the market because you've taken this, you really are matchmakers, ultimately. That's the online matchmaking, that's eHarmony. Yeah. You kind of, you clearly own that space. Why? Why is it that there's not more online matchmakers?
Well, we have some in the room here. I mean, individual, but
real, like real in-person matchmakers. Mm-hmm. But in terms of being online matchmaking, eHarmony is it. I think anybody argue against that? I mean, what do you think of when you think of online matchmaker?
eHarmony.
eHarmony.
Mm-hmm. They're the only ones that are investing in an algorithm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't, I've always wondered that myself. Maybe they just think there's no way they could compete. I don't know. Just kidding. But, I don't know. It's something that's to us, it's so important to take it so seriously because, you're not playing with people's lives, but you're having an influence in people's lives. So what you said earlier in your talk about sort of the state of the industry, can we focus on compatibility? And, it's really important to put two people together who are going to enhance each other's lives and not be a nightmare, right? So, I don't know. I would love to see more people doing that and trying it. And it's really fascinating. And we are research scientists right now who are continuing to work with outside academics. And they're trying to assess if there's more dimensions of compatibility that we aren't aware of. And they're sort of kind of working that into the questionnaire. And so constantly thinking and working on that. Yes?
I was just curious if you thought you saw space to team up with Watson. Because of all of the,
oh, right.
the IBM's Watson, because, doing cancer research or connecting thousands of points.
Mm-hmm.
Is that ever something that's come across?
It hasn't come up, but I love the idea. So, yeah.
So on that point, what do you think is the future of online
Oh,
matchmaking?
God.
Where could it be in, say, 10
Really
to
not
20
question.
years?
I
What's
mean,
in the crystal
20
ball?
years.
I asked our research scientist this, and he's like, well, it's not going to be like Black Mirror. People are always going to have free will. I was like, obviously. I mean, that's a TV show, a very dark one, right? We're not going to have a coach that says you have 12 hours in this relationship. Although that might be good in some circumstances, right? Get out of that one.
2 hours.
I just feel like we continue to hone the data, and machine learning to me is huge. Like, we had a scientist who, he left, but this is being picked up by someone new. So let's say I'm a guy on eHarmony, and I tend to click on women who have blonde hair or a certain type. We're going to sort of integrate that into the back end and deliver you matches that sort of fit with what you're already choosing. So I think there's just going to be more and more tailored, science in terms of knowing what you want and then giving you what you want. I asked him about like DNA matching, and I said, what about that? And he said, you know what? It was funny. He's like, I've read all about that, and it's not really effective in predicting relationship success. So really, to us, it's about relationship success at the end of the day and what makes for a great relationship, just not just any relationship. So,
Match publishes SIA every year, Singles in America Survey.
mm-hmm.
What? I'm surprised. Do you guys have something like that, or intend to do that? 'Cause
Funny you should ask.
I'd love to share that with my audience, and
Yeah.
obviously when we're asked to go on press, it's always nice to have these statistics available.
I'm probably scooping ourselves. We just did a survey with Harris, and it's called the Happiness Index. It's going to be coming out in a few weeks, and it really
That's cool.
it's about the state of relationships in America.
Wow.
And,
that helps us.
it's
really,
great because we're all about
really.
relationships, right? And we want to know, how are the relationships out there in the world? Are they happy? What are they fighting about? Are they having sex? What are the age groups that are the happiest? So we're working on that, and it's actually coming out in a few weeks. And Grant Langston is going to be out in New York doing press in 2 weeks. So that's going to be our sort of annual,
Time for Valentine's.
Yeah, well, yeah, fancy that. High season of dating.
Any questions? So I'll have, there we go. Maria?
Yeah.
Maria from Agape Match.
Yeah. I once met Grant I've met Grant a couple times, but Warren, he had said, just right before I met my husband, he said, marry someone who doesn't have any of the qualities on your no-nos list.
Mm-hmm.
Like your top 5 no-nos, write them down and make sure he doesn't have any of them.
Yeah.
How do you, because I know like a lot of no-nos, it's very hard to find. You don't know until you're dating them,
Yeah.
right? Like family values, for instance,
Mhm.
or... So this is kind of like a 2-part question. The first is like, how are you evaluating the shifting of, well, maybe it's 1 part, the shifting of no-nos now that the way politics have penetrated
Mm-hmm.
into the first date chat of relationships? Because what I'm seeing is what I do now in the last 10 years is a lot different than what I did 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I don't know.
Well,
Before you answer the question, if
Yeah.
you do me a favor, just for the audio, for the video, just repeat the question.
Oh, God.
good luck.
Thank you.
Do you want
Are
me
you
to repeat the
serious?
question? I think you.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, how have politics changed the algorithm match for you? Because it's no longer, you know, someone being conservative versus liberal.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't even know what Trump is. I don't even know if he is conservative or liberal half the time. So there is a sort of following.
His own entity.
There's a following there. How has that affected your algorithm?
I don't think that, you know, it's affected the algorithm. I could be wrong. I'm not the expert in that area, but we do see that, you know, in times of, you know, insecurity or just difficult times in society, people, like after he was elected president, our numbers went up. But just after like 9/11, our numbers went up. When anything in that's really awful.
Oh my God.
But I mean, just
I think in times of trauma,
yeah,
people
just like difficult times, you want some sort of security or someone there for you. So we have seen, interestingly, spikes. We actually put out some sort of graphics and charts and different things that had happened in politics, and now we see sort of spikes in our registration. So it has affected it, and it definitely is a part of people's profiles. So, you know, if you're a Trump fan, don't even bother. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen the other side too. So it's definitely a, you know, whereas before I don't think politics played such a role in your dating life, I think it definitely does now because it's such a polarizing time. So it definitely affects, you know, who you're going to go out with. And as far as deal breakers, I think he's so right. He always says, there's some things you can't stand about something, you know that. Like, if I can't stand someone that curses, let's say. It's just going to wear on me, and it's just going to be difficult, and it's not going to work long term. So it's important for you to know what you're looking for, you know, the pros and the cons.
And the questions to ask.
Of course, yeah.
Any other takers? Carmelia. You were the first. Carmelia Ray.
Yeah.
Carmelia Ray.
Yeah.
She wrote the question.
Yeah, I have all. I'm gonna ask the ones I want. How is your demographic still? My conception of eHarmony is that it's 35 plus. Are you attracting millennial, and are you interested in that demographic?
Yeah, 35 plus is our #1 demo, and then 24 to 35 is #2, quickly thereafter. So it really depends on where you are in the country. I think, you know, it's hard to be everything to everyone. So, you know, whoever wants to come to eHarmony to find a meaningful, long-lasting relationship, great, come on down. I don't care if you're 21 or 55. But that said, we do tend to target our advertising and some of our marketing to the 35 plus group because we feel like those are the people who really, that's sort of our sweet spot. Yeah.
Question.
The name and company?
Yes. I'm Lisa Concepcion, Love Life Transformation Coach, and was wondering if you can elaborate on the content, specifically if you use and how you go about assigning outside bloggers, content providers, and all that.
Yeah.
So elaborating on the content.
Yes,
Okay.
the content.
Thank you.
That's been like my baby since I've been there. So I've been managing the advice site for the whole time I've been at eHarmony. And in the beginning, it was funny. We had all these like, you know, cool staff articles, and then I kind of thought, you know, I'd love to have, instead of just eHarmony staff, you know, 10 ways to ruin your love life. Let's get some people who are legitimate here. We are a legitimate company based on research, so, and Dr. Warren doesn't have time to write blogs. So I sort of went out and looked for people I thought had a really strong voice and gave good concrete advice, not just don't worry, be happy, the person's going to come into your life, but you know, look at what you're doing wrong, look at what you can do better, you know, just, so we have a guy named Dr. Seth Meyers. He writes for Psychology Today, he's a psychologist in LA, love him, and he writes he's got a more frank voice. I think it's also important to have a lot of different types of voices on your site, so he's the frank sort of no-nonsense guy, and then we've got someone that's just an author who appeals to women, and then we've got, you know, we run the gamut, so I think it's important to have many different voices on your site to appeal to a wide range of, you know, people who are reading. And I sort of just handpick people, and then people have come to me as well, and if I really like their stuff, and I feel like they've got something to say and a point of view, and they're going to be helpful, come on down, come on board, so, yeah.
And is there like a criteria, like they have to be a best-selling author or
No.
nothing? Just
No, it's just,
All right.
yeah, so, let's talk. I just want, when I publish an article, and I publish a lot of them myself, if it's helpful, if it helps, it makes, I get excited publishing something great that I know is going to help people, because that's what it's all about. That's why I'm at eHarmony, to help people in some way, and so, yeah, it's great.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
One more question. Going. Any takers?
I can keep asking questions.
We can,
I have
you know
a
what?
million.
But we can bounce back and forth.
Literally have a million questions.
Fire
How
away.
much has the culture changed? This is my favorite question. Since Grant became the CEO.
It's changed a lot. So I think the first 2 months he was there, he was pushing a beer cart around the office, just in happy hour. So I would say that's pretty different. And that was probably the most popular thing I put on Twitter the whole time I've been there. He's just, Dr. Warren's, amazing and smart and brilliant, but he was a much more formal guy. He wore a suit to work every day. Yeah, his tie, he had beautiful suits, and Grant's like showing up in a Triumph t-shirt and riding on his motorcycle. So I think it's a more relaxed, less formal environment. When we have our staff meetings, everyone's kind of, yelling and
Oh wow.
yeah, so it's cool. It's definitely, I think it's more, I don't want to say techie, but we've got like masseuses that come down, and we've got coffee bar. We have to compete with the technology, people at Facebook and Google and everywhere else, and down at Venice Beach. So we do recognize we have to compete with that. So we have a lot of that stuff in the office too, which is great. It's fun. We can't bring our dogs to work yet, but I'm very upset about that. So I'm trying to change that, because I have a little min pin I want to bring. But.
I have
Question
more.
time.
I have one more.
Go for it, Maria.
Sorry.
Okay, these are good
I mean,
questions.
she's here. So.
Yeah, this is great.
And everyone's going to get up to talk to her, and I'm not going to have time. So, so you had, and I know this is not your forte because you're the content officer here, so I'm really sorry. These questions are really out of left field. You had eHarmony Select. What was it called?
Oh,
EH
EH
Plus.
EH
Yeah,
Plus,
I'm so
right.
curious about that.
And I know it stopped.
Yeah.
And go. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Grant Langston ran that.
I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
And it was just not scalable. It was just the amount that it cost to all the matchmakers we had to hire, and PhDs we hired, and the staffing, and the follow-up, and bringing in people for photos. It just wasn't something that was scalable. It basically cost more to run it than we were bringing in. So that's really why it didn't work out. And we still want to find a way to help people on a more premium level, because people want it. I mean, I see emails that come in my, the Ask the Experts mailbox at eHarmony. How do I my profile? I'm not getting a response. How, I need help. So, as you know, people need help. And we're trying to figure out ways to address that on a scalable level.
It's hard to scale.
Yeah, it's really hard. Yeah.
Matchmakers, any comments?
I can
Oh my God, I have a
Oh,
million.
there we go.
Great.
We need
All
to
right.
talk.
Okay.
So, is it scalable? What do you think? What's your experience?
I think anything's scalable with the right business model.
Right.
It's just a matter of thinking about premium packaging, high ticket packages where maybe it's a whole thing. Maybe it's a stylist, a writer, an entire image package, eHarmony Premiere, and you just pay these people, they pay, and you get assigned, week one, you're gonna have your expert give a closet analysis. What are your dating clothing like? What's your image? Then it's get your profile on point. How about even a photographer in your local city that we assigned to do some photos of you? So you'll know the difference between an eHarmony elite and an eHarmony normal everybody. You'll see the pictures different. You'll be like, wow, this person's serious about dating for real. They're investing.
Maybe it is about like outside contractors or something like, it can work on that level. I think that's
And
interesting. Yeah.
it's scalable in that those contractors can then be accredited an official eHarmony coach or official eHarmony, like a stringer, like a photo stringer. And maybe it's a logo that they put on their website, but they become part of a network.
Right.
That there's a win-win, pay kind of deal.
Yeah. I
So
love
basically,
that.
rather than doing it in-house, you're saying use the people that are existing outside, but provide some credential.
Yeah, and provide it in a way that there's a criteria. If you're going to be an eHarmony
It's not scalable.
photographer or an eHarmony coach or whatever, there's a criteria and a certain kind of ethical protocol that you have to follow. And it's like a win
Right.
for both sides.
Yeah, it's only a win though if 10% matches. I mean,
Probably the fastest way to scale that kind of matchmaking business is if eHarmony were the lead gen to only notable matchmakers and you do a rev share. But I think that's probably the number one solution because I've done that before with a different dating brand. We advertised on Plenty of Fish. Plenty of Fish generated the lead that was tracked, and we would produce that company did $50,000 a month in revenue just on leads that were pushed that said, do you want to work with a matchmaker? Yes. No scale, no overhead.
Right.
They already have an infrastructure, and there are many dating service models that have multi-city markets that you can do that with as a possibility.
Are you on the final panel tomorrow?
Yes.
Great, because this is real final panel material.
I know, I love this.
This
I
is
love
great
this. I
final
love this.
material.
This is great.
So questions. Let's just get. We've got time for probably 3 or 4 more questions. I think.
that wasn't
3 more
question
questions. Name and company. Remind me. It is.
Mine.
Which one do you want to say though? You've got 2 companies.
Right, yeah, the LodgeSocialClub.com.
Live Social Club.
And we do exactly that,
Nice.
what you just said.
Oh, nice.
So we are just in the process of launching, and we just launched a few days ago at Sundance. And had
Congratulations.
a beautiful response, and we have some of the world's top endorsers in academia supporting us, and celebrity endorsement as well. So we're super excited. So when you're saying this, I'm like, yeah, and So want to chat with you anyway as well, and excited to talk to you. But we have figured it out. I've been working on it for 22 years, and it's already doing well. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So you heard it here first. But what's your question? This is a golden opportunity.
Well, one of the things that you are saying continually, which I'm just so grateful to hear, is, and I can hear it when you say it, the authenticity behind the number one focus is to really connect people for true, genuine love and relationships. And I think that that's been missing quite a bit. Other than you, I mean, you've been, Neil has been the forefather. Our partner is a dear friend of Neil's, and it's Dr. Harville Hendricks. He's our partner,
yeah.
right? So it just, there are enough singles to go around in this world, and there's more genuine love to be made, genuinely.
Yeah.
And the energy of love is just so important for all of us as not only a community, but as a planet. So
Absolutely.
just thank you for starting what you've done, and excited for all, right?
Got it.
For all of us here that are really about bringing all of this that has to do with love and connecting people to just an even higher level.
Absolutely. I love that. So true. I don't
What can
know.
the market bear?
Yeah.
One thing.
Yeah.
And supply and demand, possibly? Is that?
Yeah.
Like $5
because
in
they
New York isn't the same as $5 in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
So,
Right.
Big Mac index.
The AI lady just said that we should be charging all over the map. So I was like, we're getting into this AI sphere. Is eHarmony using AI at this stage?
Gosh, I mean, machine learning and back-end algorithm. I don't know if AI. I don't really think so. I know we've talked to people, but I don't think so at this point. I could be wrong though. I don't think we are though.
Name and company?
Dynamic Woman Meets Her Match. And I have a question about email marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys do a lot of that at all? Trying to just engage, get people to the blog, send traffic to different places, engage with your users at different levels. Is that part of your strategy?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, email marketing is another complicated area because if you have to stay within these certain guidelines or you get in big trouble. So, yeah, we use it, there's a lot of notification emails that go out. I send an advice newsletter out twice a month. Notifications of new products and features go out. So yeah, there's a whole team that's working on that. And
Like text, SMS, and different things?
no, I don't do that so much. It's more traditional email still. Yeah.
Who's your agency of record?
Who do we work with? I don't know. I'll let you know though.
One last question. Who's going to take it? Violet Lim. Lunch actually. Singapore.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Just curious, so you mentioned just now that your main demographic right now is like 35 plus, and also in terms of your targeting, you're also targeting 35 plus. The next highest group is 24 to 34. So I mean, obviously, you know, like dating is quite different for like 35 plus and now like the millennials, which eventually will be 35 plus.
Right, right.
Yeah. So what are some of the thoughts and strategies that eHarmony have to eventually attract this group of daters?
Well, yeah,
So
we
how
still,
to attract the younger folks? Just repeat. Yeah.
you know, I think, you know, speaking from what I heard from Grant Langston, our CEO, you know, he's like, I can't put out a message that's going to appeal to everybody, so I'm really going to focus on the people who are looking for a serious long-term relationship, period. So, you know, it matches advertising, and you see like younger people, and I think that they sort of pull in a younger demo, but we just don't think that it's, you know, necessarily possible to, you know, with a marketing campaign attract everybody. So we just focus on a certain target, and we sort of stick with that age demo.
I think that's it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I hope I was helpful.
Thank you very much.